Welcome to the podcast. I am your host, Derick Gant. Listen, we are here to make sure your life gets better. You know, so many people are out here just inundated with the noise, inundated with so many things that they never really find out how to crack their own code. And that's what we're all about. How do you crack the 24K life code? And it's not our code, it is your code to success. So how we do it is we bring amazing people to the game so that they can help you elevate your business, your relationships, your life, your money, your mindset. You know what? If you don't get help, you will be helpless. Because you know what? We don't always know everything that it takes to elevate ourselves. So today, I am bringing you the man. Now let's listen carefully. This cat reached out to the 24K Life podcast and says, I'm a guru. I need to be on your show. I need to help your people. You need to have me. I'm like, hey, if that's the case, let's roll. So then I looked him up and I was like, oh, it's like that. Okay, I see you. So today we are bringing in AJ Kumar. AJ, the digital guru. No, I'm sorry. He's the digital maestro. What? He's also the guru maker, the founder and CEO of the Limitless Company. Limitless is my all-time favorite movie, very close to Batman. But anyway, he is the founder of the Limitless Company, and I can't wait to talk to him because when I did check him out, the first thing on his stuff is crack content. I'm like, oh, we got to have some crack content. And it's not about the crack, it's about having content because I'm 24K. I'm like, the world needs to know about 24K. I need the guru on my show. So it went from I need to be on your show to I need AJ on my show. AJ, welcome.
What's happening, man? What's
you
up?
You are, man. You're happening, bro. I
love your energy, Derick.
Man, I tell you what, if I could bottle up and sell it, I wouldn't need you, man.
So at the gas station, let's buy it.
Yeah, hey man, put it in little bottles next to the Rhino stuff. I don't even know what it's really called. That's why I said Rhino stuff. Is it I don't know if it's a liquid, it's a pill. I don't know what it is, but I've heard about it in passing.
Yeah, we all see it. We all see it.
Scared to take it, man. I feel like a heart attack because I'm older.
Don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, man. So you have a nice setup, a nice team. You're doing something. I told my son, I said, hey man, he goes, well, how'd this dude find you? I said, I don't know. We're gonna make sure we ask him that question. He goes, well, I see you taking notes. You never take notes. You just hit record and go. I'm like, bro, I got questions for this dude. I'm like, this is gonna be a good show. I got questions for this dude. So before we go, man, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. Let's share this out. Let's make every entrepreneur, now listen to me clearly, let's make every entrepreneur willing to do the work a success. That's my game. Let's make them a success. So like, share, and comment, engage on this podcast. Let us know what you're thinking. Doesn't matter if you're on Spotify, Apple, or if you're on YouTube. Let's get some questions answered. Let's blow AJ up so he can blow us up. So AJ, first question. How did you find the 24K Life podcast?
If
you remember.
I remember. I have a team that's looking for like interesting podcasts, and then you definitely came up with that search, and your personality was pretty fire. So it's like, all right, let's talk to this guy.
All right, well, you tell the team they did a good job. All right, that's the easy question, man. So I have so many questions for you, bro. Let's start with the layups, the softballs. You know, the world is so accessible and so noisy. How do you help your clients break through all that noise to be recognized?
Yeah, it is. It is noisy, especially right now, especially in the current environment that we're in, where we're essentially digital first now.
Mm-hmm.
And when the way people see you online is already augmenting people's reality. It's how they perceive you in real life. So you do have all this content, all these people talking about things, but really the way to stand out is you identify what your core focus is, and then you blend other interests that you have. So
Okay.
it sounds counterintuitive at first because everyone's taught to niche down, especially, in entrepreneurship. And yeah, niching down does help you become an authority. But then if you want to get to the next level, then you got to be more multifaceted, because that's what we really are. Humans are naturally multifaceted, and you could get that when you meet people in real life.
Right.
But online, you got to be able to demonstrate that and show that and really integrate that into how you position yourself.
Yeah, I see you. I see you. I see what you're saying. I get it. And I've been, so I started the digital game. I'm older, man, like older. I'm 57, right? So my first clients were all on a yellow pad. Their name and address and number was on a yellow pad, bro. Seriously, man, a yellow pad. And I smiled and dialed and made connections and built trust the old fashioned way. And, as I decided to change my business model, and I didn't really decide to change it. I decided to figure out a soft landing, because I knew I wasn't going to be that cat that just sat at home and watched TV and played golf. And, I wanted to continue to help people. So I'm transitioning from face-to-face, one-on-one investment advice to this financial literacy, financial empowerment. Let me help you change your life. And 24K is multifaceted, but I see what you're saying, because I usually talk about the money. I don't talk about the relationship or communication. I talk a little bit about mindset. I talk a little bit about fitness, but you're saying, if you're going to show and talk about the money, you might want to sprinkle in, or you're not even saying might, you're saying sprinkle in the other parts of your life to show people you're more than just the money dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see you, man. I haven't been a fan. I was the dude that was like, why are they showing pictures of the cookies that they baked? Why are they showing dinner? It just grinded my soul, man, to see all that stuff. But you're saying that's the ticket.
That's the ticket. I mean, especially now. So I always explain it like this. What happens when you get badminton, ping pong, and tennis and put that all together?
You get better at table tennis.
You get pickleball.
You get pickleball.
you get an entirely new sport with the blend of multiple different sports.
Okay.
And that's what it's really about online is, like, for example, I had a client that was a plant-based nutritionist.
Mm-hmm.
She also had interest in other areas like spirituality, yoga, cooking. And it was by blending all of that together that made her more interesting to people. And it also appealed to different groups and segments of people that may not have been interested in plant-based nutrition, right, but it created different paths for the person to find them and to discover them.
Oh man. So, dude, back to me. I know this isn't about me, it's about you. And we're gonna make sure you get all your stuff in. But I'm trying to win at this game too. I'm trying to win off your expertise. The guru's here. I'm trying to win too. So anyway, my question is, man, I it's kind of the same line as the cookies and the meals. So I put up a post about how to improve your life, financially. And, I get, 60, 70 likes or something like that. I put up a picture like in a t-shirt at the gym and I get 200 likes. And I'm like, people aren't that fickle. Something happened, right? And you're saying, bro, don't fight the feeling. That's what I hear you saying. Is that what you're really saying?
Yeah. Think about it like this. So average people are spending on their smartphones 3-4 hours a day. And a lot of that time is spent on social media. So people are consuming hundreds of videos a day, hundreds of pieces of content. So it's not just about like the one video that you're posting every day. Mm-hmm. You've heard, like, you've ever seen those books where it's a it's, you know, like there's a picture on each page, and then when you flip it, it starts to create this motion. So it's kind of like that.
Okay.
Every day you're posting content, you're essentially creating this position, this version of yourself in the minds of the viewer. And when you do that over and over and over again, and by showing different facets of your life, you become this like full-blown human.
Okay.
Instead of just a flat, you know, you're watching somebody on a flat screen and you're having this flat experience. By having all of these different facets of you, you're creating this viewing experience where people are actually able to create this parasocial relationship with you, right?
A parasocial relationship. My man, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds good.
A parasocial relationship is like a one-way relationship.
Okay.
So what tends to happen is people see you every day. They see every different facets of you, and they start to feel like they know you personally. Even though you may not know them at all, they feel like they know you.
The Trump effect. You're fired. Everybody's like, "Ooh, him. Yeah, let's vote for him." Got you.
Yeah,
I feel you. All right. So, how long have you been doing what you do, man? How long have you been in the digital market?
I've been in digital marketing for over 15 years now.
So dang, wow.
Yeah.
And so, what's the biggest change that you've witnessed as far as implementing strategies with your clients?
Biggest change definitely has been the transition to video, because for a really long time, and a lot of the clients I've worked with up until like 2016, 17, were primarily based off of blogging. I would work with clients to create content in written form, right? There's written form, audio form, and then video form. Video form obviously was there, and like the YouTubers and long form content was starting to take off for certain people, but it wasn't until short form really came into play and technology advanced to a level that we can share this much video content at the same time, which started happening, you know, with Musical.ly and TikTok and all of those companies. So video was an incredible game changer, because when you're communicating something visually, it's so much more impactful. Right. Like before, when you had blogs, the advancement of blogs were infographics, where you would have this big graphic and it would have all of these visual images that all tell like a story. Okay. And those were really powerful. Like one client I had, like she was the plant-based nutritionist, and I had an idea for a piece of content that I got from watching Dr. Oz. It was like what your poop and pee mean. And then we turned that into an infographic where it's like, if it's this color, if it's that color, if it's that, it means this. And that piece of content, that page on her website drove millions of views over like a period of time. Right.
Wow. That's crazy. So how long should a video, social media video, how long should it be from a look at me standpoint?
It varies. Right now what's happening is we got introduced to short form content in the last 4 or 5 years. And a lot of those videos were anywhere between, you know, it started off with 6-second, 10-second videos are really, really hot. And then it started becoming 30-second videos, 35-second videos. That's a sweet spot for a lot of creators right now. And then people are also starting to now create content that's over a minute long. Now it's like 1 minute, 15 seconds, 1 minute, 20 seconds. So it just depends on what you're talking about and how you're delivering it. If you could deliver it in 30 seconds and make an impact with that, then do that.
Yeah. You know, I did actually I've done a couple TED Talks, but I had done hundreds of speaking engagements before I did my first TED Talk. And when, you know, they tell you, hey, it's got to be 18 minutes or less, I was like, how in the hell am I supposed to do that? And then I started working on it and watching other TED Talks, and I started working on my own, and I'm like, oh my God, you can get a lot of content in 18 minutes if you're on your game and it's succinct and well thought out. So I see what you mean by that. And you know, it's almost like forget a picture and definitely forget posting up something with some words. It's like put up a 10, 15, minute video based on, again, what you're doing, what the content is, and all those type of things. You're saying that's the move.
Yeah. Well, right now what I'm sharing with most people is create short form content, create stuff that's less than a minute long, because the demand for it right now is massive. Okay. Massive. So like whatever industry you're in, whatever niche that you're in, yeah, you'll probably see other people that are in it.
Right.
But it's kind of like what I shared with you before. People are consuming hundreds of videos per day. And if they're consuming videos of stuff in your niche, chances are your video will eventually pop up for them.
Okay.
So for you, it's really about the game of consistency.
Got you.
You can keep posting longer than everybody else, because most people burn out. Most people are on a hamster wheel and they eventually get tired. But if you could keep it going, then you'll win.
So what does that look like? How many times? I've heard Gary Vee say 14 times a day. I've heard different, numbers. I don't think I've ever been able to do, not that I can't, I just have never seen never mind. I've never done more than maybe 2 or 3 pieces of content a day. And that has never been consistent. My average is probably 1 a day at best, on average. So how many would you recommend per day?
So to answer that has a lot to do with what you're able to do consistently for a long period of time.
No. Forget that. I want to be the man. I want to be Grant Cardon's nephew, right? I want to be his black nephew, and I don't want to be him, but I want to be on that trajectory. And I know how many times he posts a day, but so just starting out, forget the consistency. If you say, Derick, you want to be the man, you need to post at least blank number of times per day.
Okay, so Gary Vee and people do talk about posting 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. And if you could pull something like that off effectively, then great, then do that. But the reality is, if you could do 1 to 2 pieces of video per day and you're creating that intentionally, and you're really, like, by intentionally, I mean that you're focusing on creating strong hooks, you're focusing on retention strategies.
Okay.
If you manage that, that I would believe would be much more impactful than just creating content.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Go ahead.
It's a different school of thought when it comes to creating 8 videos a day, because the reality is most people aren't posting any pieces of content. Most people don't even know how to speak in short form language yet, right? It's practice. So if you could, pump out 7, 8 videos a day, what it's really doing is it's helping you articulate your message. It's helping you articulate your expertise.
Okay.
So in that sense, I think it's great.
All right, man. I just got so much for you, bro. We could be here all day. I don't know if this is going to work for you, but it works for me. So, okay. So I like what you said. If you could create 2 pieces of really intentional content. I've listened very carefully to my interviewees. Intentional content. Does it hurt you to create 2 pieces of intentional content and 6 pieces of bullshit? I mean, I'm asking. I'm being honest. I'm asking. I mean, just for eyeball's sake.
It doesn't. It's not going to hurt you per se, because it's just not going to be seen by a lot of people. Okay. I mean, at the end, like when it comes to it, you're creating the content because you are ultimately trying to create some kind of value.
Right.
And whatever you're creating is going to be seen by followers and non-followers. The really good stuff is going to be shown to more non-followers, right? And eventually become more followers. The not so good stuff may only be shown to followers.
Okay.
If it's still providing value, then I would say, that's still great that you're giving your followers value, because they're following you. They're your thing.
I'm gonna have to scrap my marketing production time and revamp it, because I need to be kicking out. I mean, 2 videos a day, and I'm assuming you're not talking about a 5-day week. That's still 14 pieces of great content. It can be done. Obviously, people are doing it, and you're right. People do burn out. I've been one of those people. I've never given up, but I'll burn out, and then I'll be kind of silent for 3 weeks, and then I'll come back for 2 months, and then I'll be silent for a few weeks. So how do? And it might not be a straightforward answer, and I understand that, but how do you? Well, let me back up. How do you measure? From an analytics perspective, what measurement should we be looking for, right? Should we be looking for eyeballs, like views? Should we be looking for likes? Should we be looking for comments? What statistic shows that you're moving in the right direction?
That's a really, really, really good question.
Because I love good questions.
That's what's on the minds of most people. because they're trying to find out, because a lot of the numbers don't really, for a long time, a lot of people just saw them as vanity metrics, right? Because they're like arbitrary numbers to some respect. So I understood this for a while as well. Like one of the issues I dealt with clients was I knew I was creating content that was making a really big impact, but I didn't know how to articulate all the value that was being created. So I had a business mentor a while back that I've been working with for almost a decade now, and him and I created this concept. It's called ROAC, Return on Attention Created.
Okay.
And this is a methodology that we use to determine the effectiveness of content. And really what happens with this is that it starts to help give you meaning to your efforts, to the work that you're doing. So yeah, we're looking at views. We're also looking at retention, right? How long is somebody actually watching the videos? Because all of these metrics that you have, there's small changes that you can make that have this big accumulation effect.
Okay.
At the same time, what's happening is most people are used to the concept of ROAS, return on ad spend. The advertising ecosystem is much more black and white, and that you spend X, you get Y, right? It's very ROI based. Whereas the organic content ecosystem, which I would say is the default ecosystem, whereas the ad ecosystem is a separate ecosystem. The organic ecosystem is the default ecosystem, and it's what's happening right now. It's what's happening in the present moment. So when you're looking at what happens first is there's qualitative value and there's quantitative value that occurs when you're creating content, and it has a much more long-term effect. First, what happens is you start to change the way people perceive you when you're creating content. That's what immediately happens. And that is valuable. And, because when you start to see people in real life, they start to look at you differently.
Right.
Because you're building that relationship with them, right? That parasocial relationship is being built on a subconscious level. So that starts to happen. You start to get more leverage, and then you're more leverage in negotiations, right? You start to get higher quality of people following you or commenting with you, engaging with you. And then ultimately, your reach starts to go up. Your retention starts to go up. You start to get more followers. And all of this from a holistic perspective is it's a long-term game.
Yeah, it is a long-term game. And so in your universe, again, from the perspective of working with clients or helping clients do better business, you take the organic approach. So the ROAC approach versus the ROAS approach.
Yeah. I mean, I have partners that do the ROAS approach that work with my clients. I specialize in the ROAC approach in the organic content world.
Okay.
And it's especially powerful now more than ever because we're about to enter a cookieless world, right? A world where privacy is priority for companies like Apple and Google. So we're about to enter a space where advertising isn't going to be as effective as it was before, right? Over the last 15 years, another thing I did notice that has been really different is that in the beginning, the smartphone, the internet, social media, all of that was very novelty. All of that was very new. So people didn't care about their data being tracked and they didn't care about their privacy, whereas now they do. So advertising is going to get more difficult, but the opportunity that's available organically is a lot more powerful.
Okay. So, I used to track all the analytics from a market perspective, not necessarily directly with me, but just in general. And I was always, I always derived that the numbers were, if you were out there in the digital universe and you got like a 1-2%, attraction rate, not attraction, but traction, be it engagement, be it clients, that was what you should expect. Are those numbers still the same or are they different?
I mean, it's different. I mean, it could be the same in certain areas, but in social media land, what we're paying attention to are things like the bookmark, the amount of bookmarks the video gets, the amount of shares a video gets, and the quality of comments that videos are getting.
Okay.
Those tend to have a lot more weight than likes.
No, 100%. A share is monumental, and a bookmark is super cool. So, okay.
So I've like, we've noticed a lot of the clients that we have videos that go viral that get like millions of views, 5, 6, 7, 10 million views. They tend to have a lot of opposing opinions in the comment section. They tend to have way more shares and a lot more bookmarks.
Okay. So what you said something I really like. So if you don't have any haters, you're not in the game. So do you believe in that philosophy? Are you trying to create some content that's controversial as a client? Are you saying to your clients, hey, let's say so like I saw the non-toxic dad and dude was like, luckily I don't do the evergreen tree in the car thing, but I know plenty of brothers that was, they had a whole stack of them dangling from their mirror back in the day, the air freshener. And and he's like, look, that's not good. And he made me, I was watching his content and he made me go and blow out the candle that I had lit when I woke up this morning.
Love that.
And I'm like, man, I got this, what's the name of that candle shop? That fancy candle shop. You know which one I'm talking about.
The one at the mall, yeah.
Yeah, the one at the mall. I'm like, God dang, man, I got this $20 candle. Yeah. And the non-toxic dad is telling me it's making me sick.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway, my point is that are you encouraging that? Does that help the process, having some haters? Which I could say some things, being black, I could say some things racially. I could say some things financially. I could create a lot of hate if I want to.
Yeah, I feel you on that. It's the way I see it is not necessarily like controversial per se. I see it more as having contrarian viewpoints. Mm-hmm. They're just different ways to look at things.
Right.
Like for the non-toxic dad, it's like, his story is true and he does have an impact, right? Like even what you just said, you watch this video and you're like, oh crap, I'm going to blow out this candle because it might be exposing toxins.
Right.
It's also making you look at what the ingredients of those candles are, right? So
no, I'm not even looking at the ingredients. Dude said, I watched the video. Dude said, look, go get some cheesecloth. Go get your favorite scent, cinnamon and whatever else you want. Wrap it up in a cheesecloth and put it around the house. I'm like, there it is. At least, So not only did he say this is bad, he said this is what's good, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And it's like for his world, it's, what I just saw? I saw who's Carlton? What's Carlton's real name from Fresh Prince?
Oh, this is called him Carlton. The dance.
Carlton. So Carlton, I just saw a video of him how he just said he started doing a non-toxic lifestyle because like he had a kid that one of his kids was super sick, and then they started looking into all the ingredients and everything. Now they're like a full non-toxic family.
Okay.
Right. So it's like this, and this is information that you read, you learn from other people like non-toxic dad or other people that are kind of promoting that message. Not everybody will agree, especially because it's against the, it's against the normal. Mm-hmm. And it makes you like one thing I noticed in his comment section is a lot of people are like, I can't do anything now. Everything's toxic, right?
Right.
So we try to always incorporate alternatives as well as solutions because people do get triggered.
Right. Well, hey, call the non-toxic dad. I'll tell you there are solutions. Just call me and we'll help you figure out how to get that done. So let me ask you this question, man. And I have a strong opinion about it. I ask this to my friends and all types of people in my inner circle periodically. Are some people just magical? Are some people just God's favorites? Because, it seems like some people, whatever they say, from what we can see, their numbers just keep going up. And there's other people that are really serious and what I would consider valuable content that barely seem like their needle is moving. Is it just outlasting the game, or are some people just magical?
I think so. When it comes to content, it doesn't matter how world class you are if you don't have a brand, a way to showcase that information. There was this thing that was done with there was a study that was done by a newspaper a long time ago where this world-class violinist was at a Subway and he was playing this like $3 million violin, mm-hmm. and he was playing all of this like world-class concert music, yet he only made like $32 in tips. Whereas normally when he plays in a music hall, he's charging $100 to $300 per seat. This guy makes $50,000 an hour.
Right.
The difference is it's the context that was created, right? So I think a lot of people don't know how to market themselves properly.
Okay.
Even though they're really good at what they're doing, they don't realize that charisma, confidence, like there's all of this personal development that goes into building your personal brand. People think building a personal brand is about other people and how other people see them. But the way I see it is a personal brand is really about you becoming a better version of yourself.
Right.
It's like you're not really competing in the world that we live in today with the amount of attention that's available in abundance, in my opinion. You could, as you keep becoming a better version of yourself, as you keep fine-tuning your body, because your body's like an instrument. It's what you say. It's not just what you say, but it's how you say it. And it's not just your tonality, but it's your body language, right?
Right.
Like you were talking about sales. I started off in telephone sales too. And it's like you need to come in with extra energy and enthusiasm,
right?
Because not 100% of what you're communicating is coming through digitally, right?
That's why they say smile and dial, right? It's because it's all coming through. And if you were grumpy and mad and desperate, and we're talking back in the day when it wasn't video content, you needed to have that part come through. Okay. So where does AI come into play in this modern world with this content creation, in your opinion?
What I've been utilizing AI for is helping me take concepts and fleshing them out a lot faster.
Okay.
That's like, everybody has ideas, but then ideas tend to be like wavering, or they're not super clear. AI could help you articulate those ideas really quickly so that you could put them into action.
So give me an example, like what you mean.
Let's see. If I'm creating like a strategy for a client and they're in a health industry, and I have an idea for like a certain angle that I want to take when it comes to, like, let's say it's about sleep or something like that.
Right.
I would be able to use AI to come up with ideas on how I could repackage this conversation about sleep in a way that is different.
So you would go into Chat GPT and say, hey, my client's selling this healthy nutty bar. What are 3 advantages to eating healthier for people 40 to 50? And AI will go boom, and then you'll say, how can you make that more interesting? And it goes boom. Is that what you mean?
Exactly. And
okay.
Obviously it requires human touch, but it helps.
No.
It helps.
Thank God it takes some human touch.
Yeah. So like that's pretty amazing. There's also this new tool. Like I use Claude and I use ChatGPT. There are some other tools I use as well, like Otter AI is pretty great as well for meetings. Every time I have meetings, I have Otter AI, and then it just helps to clear up the action items. Okay. There's this new plugin I really love with ChatGPT called Whimsical Diagrams, which helps you create mind maps and flowcharts. Because we're not linear thinkers, we're multidimensional thinkers, and we're trained from our school systems and however we were raised to just think that we have to write and do things linearly. Right. But when you start using things like mind maps, you realize that's how our brain thinks. We have, one core source of information, and then that spawns off to another one, and that becomes all these different ideas. Right. And having mind maps helps you to visualize like what you're thinking so that you could make connections and form new ideas from that. And that's what really creativity is.
Wow. Okay. So that's a great answer on how you're incorporating AI into, helping your clients blow up. I remember several times understanding that my personal main issue, when I say personal, I mean my business, branding issue, was obscurity. It's like just not enough eyeballs know I exist and that there's help out there for, your financial desperation and being held back and all the things that keep us stressed out in life. And so consistently working. So understanding how to use AI is important. And I'm glad, like you said, that it takes the human touch to do that. So I got a couple more questions for you, man, and I know you're a busy, man. You're out there in California. You got some waves to surf. So before I let you go, man, a couple more questions. Just tell us, because when we come to your website, which I've posted for you listeners that aren't watching on YouTube, you can catch AJ at the Limitless.inc. Limitless.inc. You can check him out and you can schedule an appointment. His appointment scheduler, super cool. It starts asking you questions so they can get a good feel for who you are and what you need before they ever say hello. I think that is just super duper dope. But anyway, when you go to your website, first thing that I noticed was crack content. So tell us about crack content.
Yeah, I would love to. So there has a little bit of history behind that. So I work with a lot of Gen Z professionals, naturally, because I've over my career, I realized that my mentors and my leaders were working with me as like a young millennial professional, and you do that because it helps them grow as well. So I naturally did that with Gen Z professionals, and I noticed that Gen Z was different than all the other generations in that they were purely online. They were chronically online.
Right.
And they didn't have the same, like, everyone talks about like, oh, people aren't outside playing games or whatever anymore. So they didn't necessarily exert their energy playing sports and everything. Not everybody, but a good chunk of them.
Right.
So that energy was transmitted through content creation. So it's something called frenetic energy that people have, which is just this like this energy that comes through. So Vine was one of the first short form video content platforms out there with like 6 seconds. And that's where a lot of people started creating this kind of content. And I just noticed it around 2017, 2018, where I hired one of these, a Gen Z professional, and he understood it. He understood the type of creators out there. Like one example was somebody named Emma Chamberlain, who I think was one of the first creators that pioneered this frenetic energy type of content. So we started doing that, and eventually I realized like, oh, now more people are doing that. More people are doing that. And it's because it works. Like people don't have the same kind of attention span because you have so much stuff, so many options. So you got to create content that's more fast paced, that is visually stimulating and just constantly stimulating. And I leaned into the idea that it's like crack, right? It's like crack energy is kind of where it comes from. So it's like you get that kind of energy from that piece of content.
Got it.
So now I have this platform, the Limitless Company, where I have these younger professionals and I pair them up with my more established expert clients, and we help them create crack content.
Got you. I knew exactly what it was as soon as I saw it, man, because I do a little bit of coaching. I don't do a lot of, I'm talking about business coaching for people that want to start up a business or expand their business. We're really big on helping people monetize. But it's not the big core part of our business, but we do it. But when I do it, sometimes I explain to, my business coaching clients that it's like blue magic. You know what blue magic is?
From Breaking Bad?
No, it probably was from Breaking Bad, but where I saw it was on American Gangster with Denzel.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, remember he gave out the first one is free. The first few are free is blue magic, and then he got them hooked, and then they were coming back. So that's what I knew exactly where you were going with that, and I thought it was super cool. But it's for the good. It's blue magic for the greater good. It's like, hey, let them get me hooked on my content because we're helping people, fix their finances, to fix their relationships, to fix their life, and to live less financially stressed. So I love that. My last question is about your book that's coming out. Tell me about the book.
Yeah, so it's called Guru Inc. It's Guru Inc., the reincarnation of the influencer. So the book is about what's happening right now. Across the world right now, everyone's essentially trying to build their personal brand. And in the book, I introduce a concept called the influencer hierarchy, which talks about the different levels that people are trying to achieve when they're being an influencer. So I always like to explain it by comparing it to like a doctor. If you have a cold, typically you go see a generalist. The generalist is the first level. This is the person that becomes like a jack of all trades, but a master of none.
Right.
And as you want to get to that next level, and if you have heart problems, you would go see a specialist.
Right.
So same thing in your profession. You want to start to narrow into a specific focus and get really, really good at it.
Right.
Then you could become an authority on it. To become a specialist, you're essentially modeling other people and trying to get the best of the best. And then you finally get to this level where you could kind of create your own style, right? It's like Kobe Bryant taking moves from Jordan and all these other people, even soccer players, and kind of creating his own style with it.
Right.
So eventually you start creating original content. Then you go to the third level where you become an authority. Now, the authority is where other peers will approve of you. They'll peer-reviewed studies is kind of the concept that happens. But the problem with being authority is most people don't know who you are. So now you have to start developing and incorporating these other areas of interest. You have to develop this on-camera presence. You have to develop your personality. Everyone has it, but you have to develop it. You have to get it out. Creative expression is something that I think that we all have this gift, but unlocking it and unleashing it.
Unlock the code, baby.
Requires the work. It's a code.
Yeah.
So as you do that, once you could become famous for your expertise, you reach what I call guru status, where you become a leader in your industry. And that's like when you're like the cool kid, right? You go to an industry event, everybody wants to sit at your lunch table. But that's not the final level. There's a fifth and final level, and I call that the guru's guru. And this is where you become like the Oprah, the Ellen, the Martha Stewart of your industry.
Right.
You make this very subtle shift, which is you go from being a leader in your industry to being a leader for your industry.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
You represent your industry to the outside world.
Well, I can't wait, man. I will be emailing you my address so I can get a signed copy. And I want when's it coming out?
You got it. Early next year. I just finished the manuscript, so now I'm taking it through that next phase process. So it's come out.
Yeah, man, that's a grueling process. I wrote a book, the 24K Life Code, and let me tell you, it was grueling, man. The first grueling part was to take all of your expertise that you have done for years and years and years and years, and then put it into succinct words, and then to make those words interesting, right? And then to make sure that the thing tells a story succinctly. And then if you're not a writer, I was not a writer. And oh my God, let me tell you, this is hilarious, man. Let me tell you super quick. So when I wrote my book, I found a publisher, and I was so blessed. God bless me like crazily, because the editor that I found had edited a few of Dave Ramsey's books. Well, I'm writing, a lot about finance. And so having somebody that understood the nuances and how to make that interesting. So I called her, and before she agreed to work with me, she said, send me a few chapters. I sent it to her. And I said, when I sent it to her, I said, hey, let me know if this should be burned, if it should be written in crayon for kids, or do I really have something that I can, go with? And so she hit me back, and she was not really interested in taking new clients because she's dealing with, bigger publishing houses. And she goes, no, I really think you have something here, but you're not a writer, so you got a lot of work. So I sent her the full tilt manuscript, like you said, man. I had 14,000 red marks on that sucker. 14,000, 70,000 words. 14,000 of them were wrong. And it wasn't just the words, it was sentencing and all this stuff. Long story short, I stuck with it. I got that down to 2,000. We got that down to 0. We published. And the book's doing really well. I mean, it's not like I didn't do the Amazon bestseller thing. I personally, I don't even want to mention that on here, but for other reasons, I'm not a big fan of that. Either people want it, or you can force saying you're a bestseller. I'm still a bestseller. I'm the bestseller of the 24K Life Code. So anyway, dude, I really enjoyed our conversation. I could really relate to it as somebody who has a brand, who's building a brand, and I understand your influencer levels, and I got that authority level locked in. And the guru, I believe I'm a guru, but I'm still obscure, so I'm not really a guru. So I can't wait to get the book and read it. And I can't wait to see you on stage, and I can't wait to see you at that fifth level, on stage with some of these big hitters talking about how your book changed the game. So that is exciting stuff, man.
Thanks, Derick. That sounds amazing. Yeah, I'm excited for that too. And yeah, I'm glad we met, and look forward to talking and continuing our conversations.
Absolutely, man. I'll be right back. All right, you all, you heard it. If you have a business, if you have a brand, you know what? And here's the thing. I say if. The reality is that you have a brand, if you like it or not. The question is, are you in control of your brand? Is your brand demonstrating and projecting the perception that you want it to project or be perceived? Because listen, you could be a 9-to-5 person and you still have a brand. Are you a hard worker? Do you honor your word? Are you presentable? Are you professional? Are you a go-getter? Are you positive? Are you negative? I mean, you have a brand. You don't need a 24K logo to say that you have a brand. You already have one, and it is your name. Now, for you businesses out there, I'm encouraging you to go check out AJ. Go to limitless.inc. And here's what I'll tell you. I've been doing this 24K life game for it's been over 6-7 years. And what I will say to you is that there is immense value in hiring an expert to help you do it right in the beginning so that you can go straight to consistency. Because if you're going to do it organically, it's going to take you a little bit of time. And you know that we cherish our time. It is the biggest asset that we all have. I'm Derick Gant. I want you to be your best, bring your best, and leave nothing to chance. Hey, have an amazing day. Like, share, subscribe. Listen, based on what AJ said, let's just share this shit. Just share it, right? Let's get it out there. Let's save the world. That's what I'm always about. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much.